Boom. Yes, team, welcome back to the podcast. And today I'm joined by rockstar client Adam, all the way from Texas, right?
That's it, mate. That's it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you're from Texas, but we're
Um,
living there.
Definitely not from Texas, but yeah, I'm here anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, every time we've spoken, I think you're trying to sell me the Texas dream, and I keep getting more and more tempted to just move to
Oh,
Texas.
mate. I mean, you gotta embrace the lifestyle.
Ah, now we're talking.
You gotta live as they do. Until they don't know until you start speaking, then you got problems.
Yeah, you just keep the mouth shut the whole time.
That's it.
I love it. But look, I really appreciate your time and jumping on. I know it's been an incredible kind of 7 months of working together. We've got some insane results, and it's testament to your hard work and everything. But just want to give everyone a kind of bit of an intro, who you are, what you do, kind of your background, and how did you get into fitness?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, my name's Adam. Obviously, 34 years old. In terms of introduction to fitness, same as most people. Did a sport as a kid. Got to around 15, 16, realised I wasn't going to be a professional at it. Decided probably leave that alone. So for me, it was football, soccer. If you've got Americans on here, had that year kind of gap away from that, and it was around the time that UFC started getting big. So, a fighting sport sounded like something good to do. Moved into kickboxing and slowly started integrating myself into the gym around about sort of 17, 18 years old. Same as everyone, did a solid 2 to 3 years of nothing but chest and arms. Neglected everything else like most guys, I think, do. And kind of just worked on it from there. And as time's gone on, you start picking up different things from the gym. You get a bit more of a varied workout. You still avoid legs like the plague. So pretty much that was my background in terms of going to the gym and things that I would do. Kind of hit through for me. Stayed a very stagnant weight throughout my entire life until I hit around, I'd probably say late kind of 20s. And for me, what had kind of happened was, again, I'd stopped doing, didn't really have like a hobby to do, to be honest with you. I would go to the gym because my brain was telling me, need to keep fit, wasn't running, wasn't doing anything competitive. So for me, again, that weight very slowly kind of crept up from like a mid-20s probably to my early 30s. So sitting at 34 now, I've probably put on more weight and lost more weight from 30 to 34 than I have in my entire life. So during sort of COVID was when I sort of saw myself balloon up the first time. All it took was finding a picture that I wasn't looking for of myself and saw a side profile, and I was like, who's that? I was like wearing the same outfit as me that I was wearing skiing. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. I can't believe that that's me. And it happened right when COVID hit, and it worked out quite well because everywhere was quiet and no one could watch me. I'm not a glamorous or a fast or athletic looking runner, but I knew that if I didn't like it, I knew it'd probably be good. So drove myself and was able to get my weight down from around I want to say it was I'm pounds now as well, by the way, so apologies. But yeah, I think I sat at around 230 and got myself down to 178, something around there.
Yeah. But for the Brits, that's 104 to 80-ish kilos.
There you go. Thank you for that, mate. Thank you for that. So yeah, managed to get myself down, but wasn't really. What's the word? It kind of just didn't stick in there. I did it, got to that point, and I was like, oh, I've done it now. There we go. Didn't think anything about ongoing progression. Didn't think anything about. Wasn't even thinking about like muscle or anything like that at the time. Which, I got to that point, and I was like, oh, I'm too skinny now. Like, what do I do now? I don't want to put that weight back on. And again, it just all took a back seat. I hit that point, went on holiday, and at that point, I was sort of running. I'd targeted myself to run a 100-mile week. That was my target. So I started at 5Ks, then 10Ks, and I was doing 10 miles a day and got myself up to just under a half marathon a day, basically. So I got to that 100-mile week. I'd hit that target. I got my weight down as far as I was concerned. Done, sorted. I'll just start filtering back into the gym. And it was just sort of time went on. Again, that weight crept up, moved to America. That definitely did not help the weight gain whatsoever. And it's funny, you think you know a lot in your head, but I guess you just don't put all of it together, or there are certain things. I guess in my head, I was like, well, I do this. I don't need to do that or that because I'm already doing this one thing. When, in a matter of fact, now I know I kind of needed all three of those things. Doing each one of those at 5% would have been better than doing one of those at 100%. So yeah, managed to do that, and like I said, right before I'd met you and I found you on Instagram and stuff. What I was really looking for was I've had this very similar body shape all my life. I've always struggled with certain muscles to build. Strength has never really changed. Yeah, and there was just lots of little things that I always thought I was doing things right, but obviously wasn't doing the right kind of things because nothing was ever changing. I was kind of putting weight on, losing weight, but nothing else was changing. There was no kind of difference. So yeah, it's definitely been an interesting sort of journey. That's really my history, and yeah, right up to sort of meeting you and going from there, basically.
Absolutely. And I think so many people are going to be able to relate to this because so many people, I almost call it like have false progression. They
Yeah,
think, yeah, I've done really well, I've lost the weight, but then you've regained it. Or they're like, they're in a diet, they're trying to lose fat. They're like, oh, okay, I've maintained. I'm like, you're not maintaining, you're failing to diet
yeah,
because it's two very, very, very different things.
absolutely,
I really appreciate the honesty there. And I think, like I said, it's such a big thing of people just putting this off. 1 year turns into 2 years and they just end up on this cycle rather than finally getting in shape and actually understanding what's helped you get there and will stay there. Because I remember us talking on our first call, I was like, it sounds like you've got a lot of the right pieces of the puzzle here. There's some tweaking and fine tuning that we need to do, but we just need help kind of bringing this all together for you. And you've already got such a strong foundation that you'll just be absolutely flying when you put those last pieces in place. But you know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know.
absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more.
Absolutely. What were the kind of, would you say, were the biggest things that were kind of you were struggling with or holding you back from just being able to do this on your own?
Do you know what? So one of them, I guess, for me was sort of understanding calories. I saw a really good picture, like right before, probably right in the middle of when I started doing your program, was it showed eyeballed calories against measured calories. That was a huge one. Like, when you think, I can eyeball a tablespoon and you think you are, and then you realise you get the smell of peanut butter on a bagel and you're like, no, I'll have a little bit more. I'll have a little bit more. It'll be
It's
fine.
definitely not enough.
Just like the portion control, and I think a lot of people struggle with that. I did especially. Just you look at it and you think, oh, it's fine. I'll run it off, and then something happens and you can't go on a run, or I won't have breakfast tomorrow. You completely forget, or something else happens, and it just snowballs and snowballs. So I think the tracking the calories and just being mindful and just again, I'm at a point now, like you said, where I could kind of, I'm not specifically measuring everything, but I'm kind of think I've got in my head the right idea, and because I'm still constantly monitoring my weight, I'm quite comfortable that I'm doing it right now. Whereas before, I think I hadn't got it sunk into my brain enough, but was convinced in my head, I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'll sort it tomorrow. Very like start again on Monday kind of attitude. And that's the worst thing. I think that if you're going to do it, you need to start today. Just understanding food a lot better. My real takeaway from everything with you has sort of just really been focusing on just habits. Just have good habits. Like I'm full up after a single cheeseburger. I don't need a half pounder with extra fries and a milkshake and that. I'm filling up for the sake of filling up at that point and. I don't sit there and think, oh my god, do you remember that milkshake and cheeseburger I had in February last year? I don't ever remember it, but I look at pictures and I'm like, oh my god, look at the size of me. That is miserable, and then it ruins pictures that you want to look back on because you're like, no, I don't like that picture. I don't like that, and I'm not a vain person, but you see it and you just think, oh god, like, I wish I looked the way I do now back then. And it was so stuff like that. Again, it's not just one thing. It's kind of a culmination of everything comes together.
Everything has a cost.
Absolutely.
You either have the cost of like making the hard decisions, or you have the cost of not feeling good.
One
And I
hundred
think
percent.
even speaking on like my own journey, when I was my turning point was very similar to yours. I saw a photo of myself playing rugby, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" But it's like you said, you look at those photos and you look back, but it's also your ability to be present and enjoy like social occasions and different things like that when you are not where you want to be. So it's not just looking back at the photos and liking the look at the photos, but it's also you're probably going to enjoy going to the beach, going on holiday more if you're not conscious about shit, I don't really want to get a photo because about
100%. Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, you think when people say you want to get ready for summer and it kind of gets to summer and you're like, oh, I'll do it for winter. And then everyone's indoors and going and doing stuff in winter, and then you're like, it's too late. But at least now I can get ready for next year. And you just never do it. It's always just you put off and you put off and you put off rather than just diving in and doing it.
Yeah. What would you say if you heard someone say, "I'm waiting for the right time"?
I would tell them to start tomorrow. I don't think that there never is a right time. I think the one day will turn into a week easy, and 1 week will turn into a month. I think if you're going to do it, you need to just dive in and do it. I will say the first month of doing it is miserable. It's absolutely miserable, and it's not because you've not got the support or anything like that. There, like everything you get everything you need from doing your program. Everything you could possibly ask for, you get, apart from the satisfaction of eating what you want and not having to worry about it. 100%. Like now, when I look at it, like I said, I'm eating a lot more now. Like when you told me before, like you're going to be moving up in the calories. I've gone from month one having a protein shake for breakfast that was under 200 calories. Lunch, I was having like meat and vegetables with a tiny bit of sauce at maybe 300 calories. And then dinner, I was really trying to be careful to not have anything above 500 calories because I know I was going to be snacking small things throughout the day. And that helped me get from meal to meal without going over my calories. So I think we spoke about it before. I could have done this if I had been at this position now, and if I ever had to do it again, God forbid I don't. If I ever had to do it again, I know I could do it a lot quicker. Pretty much by listening to what you were saying, but obviously, it's trying to actually put that into practice is difficult when you're doing it yourself, right? So yeah, I would say that get that first month out of the way, and you sort of it gets easier as each month goes on. The workouts get harder because you then realise that you're in a bit of a better place to do it better. And the nutrition certainly gets easier just because, one, I think you get used to it. It takes time for your body to get used to the lower calories, but you kind of think, like, I always use that word with you before, like plateau. You hit a plateau each time, like the plateau gets easier, or you hit a position where you're like, nothing's happening, and you kind of, you may has helped me be a lot more in tune with what I'm doing and how I feel and what I need to do. And like you said, like if you're hungry, then eat, but be mindful of what you're going to be eating. And I think it's really helped in terms of like choosing quality of food as well has been a real big thing. I think one you had showed me once before was just like the amount of vegetables, and you was just like, well, if you eat all of that, you're going to be full up, and you kind of think in your head, you're like, am I going to be full up? And of course you are, because you're eating this much vegetable. Rather than coming and having like a small little donut that's going to do nothing for your stomach but might satisfy you for 5 minutes. So, yeah, it's been just the education side of it. Yeah, like I said, if people were saying about weight eating and putting it off, the month one of just hell, the first month that is going to be hell, you may as well just get it done and out of the way and then just glide through the rest of it.
Absolutely. The first month's the hardest just because it's like the shock to the system. But it's also understand that's completely normal. I always say to people, I'm like, hey, let's look back 12 months. Is your life less stressful? No one's life a year on is less stressful. Have you got less responsibilities? Everyone gets more responsibilities. Every year you go on through your life, maybe as you get like in your 60s, it starts to change. But if you push this back, it's only going to be harder, more responsibilities, less time. So
100%. And like you said as well, I think, look, the older you get, the shitter your metabolism's going to get. It's just plain and simple. And I definitely felt that, I used to be able to eat whatever I wanted, and it was really difficult for me to put on weight. Now, I know that at the click of a finger, I could change my diet and I could put it on very, very easily. And, I say that I could have done this a lot quicker. And when I say a lot quicker, I could probably have shaved a month or, extra couple of weeks off. But in reality, I was eating, a very minimal amount, probably at the bottom end that I could have stomached at some points.
Absolutely. But also, I think the other thing to take into account is you could have done it quicker, but you would have had to sacrifice more.
Absolutely.
You've still had meals out. You've still had a good time with family, with friends and things like that. And you could have done it quicker, but you would have had to come and sacrifice that. And getting to know you having fun with family, with friends and making memories is obviously incredibly high on your value. So it's not worth the sacrifice.
Absolutely. And even then, like, I've been able to do it and not really, I don't feel like I've sacrificed an awful lot. It was just finding that balance at the beginning, I don't need two breakfasts but I would have done that before. whereas now, it was just unnecessary. And even in terms of like the bank balance, it's definitely helped because I'm like, do I need to go out and eat? And I'm like, I did it last night. I just spent 3.5 hours and completely mistimed my meal prep last night. Went to bed at 11:30, but I've got 10 lunches ready for the next 10 days that I don't need to think about it now. And I've got to a point now where I'm like meal prepping every Sunday, even when I don't need to. Whoever makes those small little disposable lunch boxes is making a fortune from me at the moment because my freezer is full of just a varied selection of stuff I make all the time that I don't think I have the same lunch once a week. So it's all of those multiple changes, multifaceted, have just had like multiple positive changes massively. It's been awesome.
How much money do you reckon it saved you, say, per week meal prepping?
Do you know what?
Just making healthier decisions.
Yeah, 100%. So do you know what? Like ingredients are so cheap. So for instance, last night I did like a stir fry chicken rice. So it was kind of like what was it? Yeah, stir fried chicken fried rice, something along those lines. Made it last night. All of the ingredients came to $35. You wouldn't be able to buy the quantity that I've given myself with that amount of protein, still within calories, for under $18-20 here. So that alone, I've managed to make 10 meals. So call that what, 10's call it $20 to make it simple, $200, and I've done it with $35. So that's $150-ish saving. Not to mention. Not to mention that, if you're able to go to Costco and fit some of those items in as well, where you can buy, we're in America and not just America, I'm in Texas, I'm buying, 100 frozen chicken breasts that are ready to go, all farm, fresh raised, whatever you want to call it. There'd be even bigger savings to make there, depending on how much you wanted to punish yourself. As you know, I did frozen vegetables, frozen chicken, and frozen steak for pretty much the main 4 months that I did this with you in the middle. Miserable food. It was the same every day, and before I started tailoring it, but it was costing me pennies, probably $2-3 for lunch every single day. And I would say that's about it. My biggest expense this whole time has been with protein shakes, and that's about it. But I've become a master at using discount codes, so it's worked out perfect.
Well played,
yeah, that's it.
I love that, and it's so funny because so many people say like, "Oh, I can't eat healthy. I can't do it. It's too expensive." Like, if you actually understand it, it will save you money.
100%.
1,000%. But not only that, like especially depending on your job, if you have more energy, have more confidence, you're more productive. Most people make more money.
Yeah.
Okay, like you get promotions if you're on commission, you'll make more commission if you can turn up as a better version of yourself. But was there anything you were kind of skeptical of before joining the program?
Yeah, I think most of the people that would probably. So for me, I didn't think I would ever do something like this, but it got to a point where I'm like, do you know what? I'm too old. I'm just too old to. I've read everything on the internet. I've been all of the information I've had. There's not much more you could probably be told, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that as well. And it's not to say that I think I know it all, because you could know it all and not put any of it into practice. It was kind of just having that kind of push to put everything into practice that was a massive takeaway. It's kind of that, just understanding maintenance and weight loss calories has been hugely helpful. Even the workouts, like, just how you've structured the workouts, again, it's just everything's been great, and it's all stuff I never would have done before. I think I told you before. So, I've gone through the whole, how many calories do I need to eat? But I've not really tracked my weight while I've been dropping calories, so I don't really know. I didn't know before what it was, so that was something you had kind of pushed for every day to weigh in. That helped. So that was just one part of the nutrition that helped. Tracking food and understanding that's what a tablespoon looks like. Wow, I had that completely wrong. That again, you would look and think you know what a tablespoon is, and it's not that big thing your mum told you was in the drawer. So that is not a tablespoon. So things learning like that with the weight, with the like going to the gym and like the workout plan. With that one, I would say right before I'd started working with you, for the year and a half before that, I was past an FS7 program, which is like some bodybuilders program, and I thought, perfect, as a bodybuilder's doing this, it's got to be great if I do it. I ended up spending like 2 hours at the gym every single day, which was not necessary to do. felt accomplished at the end of it for most part, but was also, wasn't really seeing strength changes or any kind of results. And that's been a great thing, like being able to track on the program all of my weight and seeing changes and just making some educated decisions. Like we had spoke about it, that don't sacrifice form just because you think you can get some more weight. Something I had never even thought about before. And I've started doing that now. I don't know if you've seen, but on some of my weights, I've started dropping like the weight very slowly, but I'm taking a lot more time in my workouts now, and I'm feeling more than I did 6 months ago. So yeah, it's just constant tweaks. I mean, the takeaways have been bountiful. That's the easiest way to put it. It's been on every kind of aspect of it. It's even if you think you know it all and you probably don't see the benefit of having a PT or just someone to assist you. I would probably be the poster boy for that kind of statement. And I couldn't have been any more wrong. Couldn't have been any more wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
100%, 100%. Yeah, it's just eye opening. Like I said, all those small little things you just start adding in that you think, I've never done that before, and that was the kind of catalyst that just then triggered everything else. So yeah, like I said, I could go on for days. It's just everything has just had. It's all the small little tweaks that have just completely changed everything.
Absolutely. I think from a nutrition point of view, people see tracking as such a ball ache.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, everyone has to remember that this isn't a forever thing. Now,
Yeah.
my opinion, to explain it to people listening, is there's two reasons that most people end up with being overweight. Either you don't know what's in food, okay, or you don't make the right decisions.
Yeah.
How can you make the right decisions if you don't know what's in food?
100%.
So tracking is purely just a tool to educate you on what the nutritional value is on food, so that then you have the information to make the right decision. Then making the right decision comes down to, again, still a bit of education, but two, accountability and habits.
Yeah.
Once we have education, it's then how do we just get you to make the right decision more often? And if you pick the right things more often, guess what? You get in amazing shape.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I think there's a lot of stuff you see online as well that sometimes doesn't help you as well. Like, everyone says, about avocados and them being like a very healthy fat to take. But it's fantastic. But if you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to watch your calories, it's probably the most calorifically dense thing you could possibly eat. And for me, I'm like, no, just avoid that at all costs. It used to be a staple part of my diet, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to eat an avocado ever again.
It's like this self-fulfilling thing. People have avocado and scrambled eggs on toast because I'm really healthy, and they're like, oh, I deserve a treat. Like, yes, it's healthy, but if you had 2 pieces of toast, 3 eggs, and half an avocado, you're probably like 700 calories.
Easy. Absolutely easy, yeah.
And if you're in a fat loss, like, not that many people are going to be over 2,000 calories in a fat loss phase.
Yeah.
You've taken like a third of your calories for breakfast. Yes, it's going to fill you up. It's healthy, but there's no way you're going to stick to things. And then if you go, I deserve a treat because I was good there, you probably then have another 500 calories, have something worse.
Absolutely.
But again, it comes down to kind of that knowledge. What would you say has been the biggest shift you, just in terms of like your mindset and how you've looked at your health and fitness journey?
I would probably just say from more of like a consistent view. I would probably say is the easiest way to look at it. I don't think, I would always go to the gym, whether I was doing it rightly or wrongly. I would always think I was trying to eat healthy, again, rightly or wrongly. I'm a lot more conscious now than I was before about going out to eat. I think it was just more about knowing how I feel and monitoring weight consistently and quite, like more than I ever have now. So I think I told you before, just going from like day to day and just eating and stuff, I'd be like, I would weigh myself before I went to bed and then in the morning, because I was just curious, what am I going to drop overnight? And then I have that in my head now, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to drop around 2-3 pounds every night whenever I go to bed anyway. And then it was just curious to, like, that's probably been the thing that I've been kind of like really focused on was, okay, so what am I going to lose during the day if I eat this many calories, or what's going to happen if I then add this into the diet? So I'm at that point now where before I was just having a protein shake, and I'm having now a bagel with peanut butter in the morning, and I'm still seeing my weight drop very slightly as I do that, and then it's the other little tweaks I'm adding. So it's really weird because I'm eating more than I was, but I'm still losing weight, not as rapidly as I was before because I'm not trying to be at that point, but I'm adding things in very slowly, and I'm like, okay, I'm really trying to, because as good as those calculators are online, I think, everybody's slightly different, and that's been really interesting to kind of just see that. I'd probably say that's been my biggest mindset shift, is that I feel like this has completely made me look at how I feel and how my body reacts to certain things, that I'm almost using myself like a science experiment now, that I'm like, I wonder what will happen if I have this now, and then I weigh myself in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. You're now just tweaking, fine-tuning, experimenting. You're having fun with it, and that's
Yeah,
what's so exciting about the journey for the long term. I think that's super powerful, and it goes to show how that mindset has shifted
yeah,
massively. And I think the biggest thing to take away from this, and it's very controversial, but I've said it to you, and you've embodied it, and why you've got the results. Weigh yourself every day.
yeah,
Okay, like if you run a business or you work in a business, the team give you, like, your boss will give you KPIs.
yeah,
Guess what's the KPI of your fat loss journey?
yeah,
Weight loss. Okay,
yeah.
so why wouldn't you track it every day to know if you're on track or not on track?
Absolutely, 100%.
But also, the more that you weigh yourself, the more that you understand the natural fluctuations, how you lose weight when you go out or whatever it might be, you become numb to the fluctuations, and you go, oh, I know what's that happens. You just get back on track, and it makes you more consistent.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, 100% agree with that. That's I couldn't agree more. Well, and you've got one body. Why wouldn't you want to make sure that you've always got it on tip-top performance all the time? Yeah. So I'm at a point now. If I don't get to weigh myself, I do have a little mini panic attack, and I do worry about it for the rest of the day. So it's definitely changed in that respect as well.
And now that you move through this reverse diet, I'm excited to see how much food you will end up eating, because you primed everything so well. Your understanding of nutrition, your accuracy is fantastic. So your body is just going to soak things up. What are some of the specific results that you've kind of seen throughout the last kind of 6-7 months?
More than anything, probably, and I'm sure other people have this as well. You kind of fixate on where your body puts weight on in certain places. It doesn't ever just evenly distribute. I don't think that would be too fair for the world to let that happen to you. So, for me, it was my gut. I didn't think my waist. I thought it was just my belly, but my gut, my waist, and my face were the main places. So, um, it's funny, you see it dropping from those places the most, but know that you're losing it from others. So I mentioned about my waist. I didn't think I had much weight to lose on my waist. I didn't realise that there was going to be that much of an effect. I'd found an old pair of shorts that I must have just completely forgotten about, that I'd always kept, because when I was running lots, they fit me perfectly, and then as I put on weight, could not even do the button up, like couldn't even do the zip up. They were that uncomfortable. Um, I tried those on the other day, and they fit me perfect. I was like, well, I guess I didn't realise that I had that weight to lose around the waist. I thought it was just in those two places. So I think you're focusing on your two troublesome parts, and you ignore the rest. So it's kind of like, seeing that was really good. Not just that. I would say on some of the pictures where we do the progress photos, where you just give yourself kind of like a pinch, like, I've eaten too much, how much fat you want to check if you've put fat on instantly. I've definitely felt like a finger caliper difference in my stomach, that the weight's kind of gone. And just the amount you then start to see, like through those progress pictures side by side, that it is quite evenly distributed, but just probably more pronounced in other areas. The back pictures that I'd never seen my muscles come out like that, and I wasn't tensing in some of those. If I catch the right light, see get a good kind of ab outline, and just the measuring as well, like being able to do the measuring at the beginning and the end, whilst you've obviously lost weight, but you're hoping that you've put muscle on at the same time. I don't feel like I've lost size, if that makes sense. I still feel like I am the size I was, but have kind of just lost the bit that made that size look silly and not good, basically.
Absolutely. You've just got way more shape, definition,
Yeah.
kind of moving through everything.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of like the shape you then get from losing weight makes you look almost bigger than you were before, in a lot of a better way.
100%. It's just, rather than just kind of almost being like straight up and down, or like when you have a bit more body fat, it just kind of like washes out your muscle. You just kind of look smooth. When you're that little bit leaner, you kind of have that roundness, those kind of lines that kind of give you the definition and give you the illusion of being bigger as well.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
but we've also come down from 98 kilos when we first started back in October, all the way down to 80.3, which is huge. And probably quite surprising because I know that you didn't think you had that much weight to lose.
I'll be honest with you. Like I look now, and I still think the 176 is probably a little bit still not enough. Personally, in my head, I'm thinking that just because I've seen that change, and I kind of think to myself, I think I've probably got a little bit more that I could knock off of that. But again, just kind of mindful in my head that I don't want to go too far down. I still want to, I already don't fit into a lot of my clothes that I had before I started. I don't want to have to go through that all again.
Let's do that. It's that's the thing as well. Is like that you can maintain, you can chat, you have the tools at your disposal to be able to like chip off a couple of pounds if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You always have to lose more than you think, but also you get to a point where you feel good, and
Yeah.
maintenance is like 5%. So if you're £200, maintenance is £10.
Yeah.
Right. So if you feel good at say 176, you're going to fluctuate £10 or like £6 or so.
Yeah.
I think you're trying to get to 170 and creating that buffer space. And if you get to 176, you still feel good, but you just need to tighten up.
100%.
You feel fucking incredible.
100%. And it's also nice to know that, like for me, if I know I'm in the 170s, I say to myself, I'm like, it's all right. I can have an extra beer, or I can have a and I feel. Whereas if I'm in the 180s, I'm like, I'm probably not going to do that today. So it's funny. I've hit that point where I'm like, maybe, and you're right. I want to. In my head, I kind of feel like I want to be in between the 170, 175, and that would be my breathing room.
Yeah, absolutely. Even just from I was looking at some of your numbers, your estimated 1 rep max on your bench press has gone from 60 kilos to 90. Angled leg press has gone from 160 to 230. And I also think one of the huge takeaways from me is, tell me if I'm wrong, you thought your form was good.
Oh, 100%. And this is what's so funny. Like I said, in the beginning, I've been doing this since I was, for the last 20, I'd say, like 15, 20 years. Think that you know it all and just think, more weight, the better. I've actually started chipping some of that weight down now, and I'm just trying to focus on my form and have a more controlled. You hear it all the time, and I always used to laugh. I don't care about it coming down. I want to push it back up. So I'm not. That's all I'm focusing on. I just get it down as quickly as possible. Whereas now I'm just trying to control everything a lot more, and I'm doing the same weight that I have been doing, but I'm not able to get anywhere close to the reps when I was kind of rushing through. And I'm certainly feeling it a lot more. Definitely on legs, where I'm focusing on pushing through hills and squeezing the right muscle at the right time. Form, I've never had, after doing this in like the last couple of weeks, I've not had the right form ever in the gym for any exercise. Definitely not now that I've sort of been doing this.
Yeah, this is the thing, the eccentric, the lowering phase of the movement is where you do the most muscle damage.
Yeah.
Muscle damage is what creates muscle growth. It's interesting. I literally trained with a client the other day, and I was saying I'm doing less than I ever have in the gym.
Yeah.
Less reps, less exercise. I do like 2 sets on everything. That's it. And maybe 4, maybe 5 exercises. 3 times. That's it. I'm the strongest and probably have the most muscle mass I've ever had. Because the more advanced you get, you do less, but you get like way more out of every single rep because your intent and your execution and your awareness, just mind muscle connection, just gets so much better.
100%.
So it's exciting to see where it's going to go for you. If you were to, who would you recommend this plan to?
Do you know what? So I never thought, like I said, I never thought I would ever do one of these programs. It's kind of sparked something in me that I absolutely loved. I would obviously recommend it to everyone. Just do it, see if you like it. I would 100% recommend to everyone. The people I think that after me personally, I think would get the most benefit are probably the people that don't think that they would do it. People that have always been going to the gym, people that have, I hear it all the time. It's so funny for me doing this. I've had friends that have been like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. There's no point me doing it. I'm never gonna go down and look like that." And I'm like, "Well, you would." And they're like, "No, I won't." And I kind of think, I'm like, "Well, don't say you won't. You just don't want to. You're not in a position where you want to." Like for me, it got to a point where I saw a photo and I'm like, "I don't like that. I'm changing that. That's never happening ever again." Whereas I think a lot of people have it in their head. Like you said, everyone's scared of tracking calories. No one wants to sit there and I'm like, you're on your phone all day anyway. you may as well just do it and wait. It takes 2 seconds, and you'll be like, "Wow, I didn't realise that's what I was doing." So yeah, it's funny. Like I hear it all the time now, and I'm like, don't moan about your weight if you're then gonna go like sulk about it and eat a full English breakfast, because that's you're feeding into your own negativity.
Don't play the victim.
Yeah,
Don't
it's just crazy.
It's so interesting. We've had that many people say, like, "Oh, I don't want to cat guys. I don't have time for that." We did an audit of over 100 clients, and we got them to go on their screen time on their phone and tell us how long each day on average they spent on MyFitnessPal. What do you reckon it was?
I reckon 15, 20 minutes.
It was less than 10.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It doesn't take 2 seconds. It's so funny.
Okay, especially when you understand how to do it more effectively, and you only get quicker at it, not just because you get better at it, but also you save recipes, you copy and paste stuff.
Yeah.
You end up being more regimented with it. So,
if you're going to end up having like the same thing in the beginning, it's going to start saving all your favourite foods, and it's there, ready to go. It couldn't be, and again, even if you get to the point where you're like, I don't know, if you're having the same thing all the time, or you're like wanting to be lazy with it, you know that you could just go and grab food. You have in your head, here's how many calories I got hit for the day. Well, perfect, because you know you can have 600 here, 600 there, 600 there. Make it easy for yourself, and you can just do that.
Yeah, I'll put this out there into the public. I would love to do this. I don't have the network or who could make it work. It's like a fitness tracker that could somehow measure calorie intake through whether it be your blood sugar, your body temperature, whatever it might be, and you could basically set your calories on your watch, and it would kind of give you like your green, your amber, you're getting close to that target, but it just measures for you. I literally think that would change the game for people, because it would take out the inaccuracy of people's tracking, and then it would just be like, hey, that's tracking, you're just not sticking to it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, you know, even for me, like it was the silly things, like adding those small little things in. Like, you know, we've got like Halloween sweets that we had left over from last year that sit in the cupboard, and they're all like individually wrapped Rolos or individually wrapped kind of like Maltesers, and I'm like, it's perfect, because it's like if I just need a quick little sugar boost, I can have one of those. All the calories are on the side. I know I can quickly chuck them in there, and I know what I'm left. And like I said, I would always try and undereat on certain meals, knowing that I'm going to snack in the middle. And I've slowly been trying to take that sugar out of it as well. But yeah, it's I get, like I said, for me now I've coming out the back end of it and have like dropped the weight that I wanted to drop. I'm like, I kind of look at other people, they're like, oh God, like I couldn't do that. And I'm like, you're going to sit on Instagram all day, just go onto it, type your stuff in, like make it simple. Like you'd be amazed how much just doing that would change everything. Like you could not go to the gym, and you know, if that was really what you were not wanting to do, spend the time not going to the gym and filling that out.
You would be better doing one less gym session per week.
Yeah.
Spending an hour meal prepping and tracking food.
Yeah, 100%.
I say to them, in fact, we've got one client right now who can't train for medical reasons, and their goals were weight loss. I said, don't worry, I'm good. Okay. She's down just over 35 kilos, and she has not stepped foot or done a single workout.
Wow. I believe it. I definitely believe it. Like I said, it's been the biggest eye opener for me. I kind of feel like for whatever you're trying to do, if you're just trying to lose weight, I don't think you would need to add in the gym. Obviously, great to have activity. Don't want to advertise. It's not good to be active.
Yeah, it's not like, but at the same time, you have to look at, like I say this, you have perfect situation, then you have real life.
Yeah.
And what people can and can't do in real life is unique. So then, like, I believe what makes us different as a program is we help people find a science-backed solution that they can actually implement into their life and stay consistent with. And that's completely different for everybody. For you, that was meal prepping and doing this. Some people can't stand it.
Yeah.
Some take a more flexible approach. But it's about finding the system that works for you, because once you do that, that's how you can stay in shape.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Well, look, mate, I thank you so much for your words of wisdom. I know you've been an inspiration for a lot of clients who have messaged me, especially after you put your photos up on your socials the other day. So, guys, leave Adam some love in the comments. He's absolutely crushed it. I'll tag his Instagram and stuff so you can go and pound him with messages or questions as well. And honestly, mate, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good talking to you, mate. Take it easy. Thank you, sir.